Picture this. You're planning a road trip but don't know where to go. I started where anyone else would, checking online when a website popped out to me. The Southwest Edge. It had different routes and chapters, some of the places I'd never seen before. One route really jumped out at me, the Hero route. We packed our things and we're off. We're heading to a place that I'm so excited for. It's called Wellington Dam, and I don't know what to expect, but I know there's this huge mural on a dam. We drove to the expansive hills of the Ferguson Valley. Our first stop was Wellington Dam in the centre of the Wellington National Park. We only realised then that this was just the start of the Collie Mural Trail. A mural called Reflections happens to be the biggest dam mural in the world, and it covers the face of the dam. With a capacity of 185 billion litres, the views here are insane. We just got back in the car from Wellington Dam and we're going chasing up on this mural trail in Collie. Alright, so we've made it to Collie now and we're looking for the murals. You actually have to look for them because I thought it was just as easy as looking at a map, but obviously not. There are over 40 murals in the town of Collie, created by all the members of the community. We just made it back to the van. There are so many murals around Collie, but we're running out of light and need to find somewhere to stay tonight. Chapter 4 is Bunbury. Just arrived at the Bunbury Dolphin Discovery Centre and I'm so excited. We're going on a boat and we're swimming with dolphins. This is going to be an unbelievable morning. I'd heard so much about the vast marine life here in Bunbury, but I was keen to see it with my own eyes. Found in Koombana Bay, the Dolphin Discovery Centre is run mainly by volunteers and conservationists with only one thing in common: their love of dolphins. Feeling excited? The whole bay is a dolphin protection area, with the Discovery Centre holding a special licence to be able to swim with them. They're so friendly with the dolphins that they're even on a first name basis. This is Eclipse. She's a regular on the beach in the morning time, and here's Lumpy swimming beneath us. Chapter 5 is Bustleton. This is the longest timber pile jetty in the world. It was so long as it stretched into the horizon, you couldn't see the end of it. We got train tickets to travel out to the end of the jetty. Normally it's a 40-minute return trip, but we got it one way as we knew we wanted to spend more time at the end of it. We had no idea that there was an underwater observatory at the end, one of only 6 of its kind in the whole world. Apparently, the coral tries to grow everywhere, even the windows. That's why a diver scrubs the windows once a week. It's time to head underwater. There was a little platform to jump off and head out around the jetty for a snorkel. Recently, statues have been erected 8 meters below the surface. They act as an artificial reef for marine life, as the majority of Geograph Bay is mostly seagrass. It was like an underwater treasure hunt trying to spot them all. This was our favourite, the diver's helmet, created by Gavin Cochran. We were feeling hungry after our busy morning and spotted shelter at the foot of the jetty. Exactly what we needed. Beers and, well, shelter from the sun. Tom took us on an extensive tour of the brewery. We got to see all the behind the scenes of exactly what goes on into making the iconic beer. I love how open space the venue is, and don't even get me started on the food. I had a 12-hour slow roasted brisket plate. If you're calling through, you have to try it. Taste test. I'm so excited. That's amazing. Day 3 brought us to Chapter 6. Yallingup. Our morning started with a quick surf in a place called Honeycomb, but I had a plan for the day. We're heading out with Kamal Dreaming, a tour run by First Nations people exploring Nilgi Cave. It started as a walk through the bush as Josh taught us how to spot traditional plants, foods and medicine from the plants around us. It was then time to explore the cave. Josh played the didgeridoo as a welcome to the cave. The cave was huge to explore. We were in the mood to explore while around Yallingup and drove slightly north to Meelup in Eagle Bay. If you've got time to spend exploring on your road trip, I couldn't recommend this enough. Meelup for a little cook-up and Eagle Bay for a swim. These two beaches are the most protected in the Margaret River region. The road here winds through the coastline, so you have sea views everywhere you drive. Look at the colour of that water. Chapter 7 brought us to Margaret River. We arrived early into Margaret River and were keen for a coffee. We headed straight to Margaret River Bakery and they welcomed us with croissants. We needed to make a game plan for the day. We researched some wineries that we wanted to check out and 2 stood out to us: Howard Park and Lewin Estate. The first stop in Howard Park was beautiful, marked with a beautiful drive-in opening into an open-air contemporary wine bar with the friendliest of staff. Yeah. As the day began to grow old, we headed to our second winery, Lewin Estate. Gus was our wine connoisseur here and he taught us about the wine. At Lewin Estate, they like to connect their bottles of wine with a piece of art. Each bottle of wine will have its own painting and their biggest pieces are below the winery in a type of cellar gallery. I love this idea of having art entwined with your wine. While we were in Margaret River, we stayed in a Summer Star Park resort. We folded. We needed somewhere to stay. So we're coming to a Summer Star Parks. We're renting a cottage, so we're getting a proper bed. I'm a princess at heart. We've got this perfect little cabin We've actually never had aircon before, so this is an absolute luxury. We have bedroom 1, bedroom 2, bathroom, kitchenette. Honestly, what more could you want? I'm gonna go sit under the AC for a little bit. We rented kayaks the next day. It was so much fun in the morning time. Good thing we were up early in the morning. We're in Hamlin Bay right now, hopefully finding some stingrays. I just hope they're out, because it's quite windy out. The water looks really calm, so fingers crossed. Once we arrived, we were just scanning the shoreline in search of rays. The best time to see these magic creatures is in the morning time, between 9 AM to 10 AM. They were so cute and the beach itself is stunning. We headed further south down the coast towards Cape Lewin. I'd highly recommend taking the lighthouse tour and climbing the 176 steps to the very top. Their average wind speed here is around 50 kilometers an hour, but the day we went it felt more like 80. Cape Lewin is Australia's most southwesterly point, and it was amazing to see where the Indian and Southern Ocean meet. We just finished the Cape Lewin Lighthouse tour and it was fantastic. It was so rich in history. We're on the way to Jewel Cave, which is within 20 k's of the lighthouse, so we're going to do one tour after the other. We have 20 minutes to go, let's hope we make it. As a geography teacher, Rachel was in awe of this cave. It was enormous and seemed to just keep getting deeper and deeper. Chapter 9 brings us to Pemberton, but we drove through the Bourne-up forest, and let me tell you, I've never seen trees like this. As the roads wound around the tree line, I wish I was on a motorbike. Once we arrived at Pemberton, we were sad to see that the Gloucester tree was closed for repairs. However, just beside it, we stumbled upon Aerial Adventures.
I'm very nervous. I'm very scared of heights, and some of them look very high.
These new high ropes and zipline courses will take you to new heights of adventure. Their all-glide line course had us soaring up to 30 meters above the ground. We had so much fun climbing and ziplining around. It really gave us such an appreciation of just how tall these monstrous trees are. This is one of the highest points now, and Rachel's halfway through it. Oh my god. That's a big fall rate. Chapter 10 was Walpole via Northcliffe. Now, Northcliffe had a national park in it called the D'Entrecasteaux National Park, and in it was Windy Harbour and Salmon Beach. From our experience at Salmon Beach, it was so much fun. Going for a swim or even just catching a sunset, it was just beautiful. The next day we moseyed around the D'Entrecasteaux National Park, and around midday we decided we were going to go for a hike. I've heard quite a lot about doing this hike. Every review I've seen about it has been, it's fantastic and amazing, beautiful at the top. So here we go. This giant granite rock, Mount Tudulup, sticks out above all the surrounding forest. We were rewarded with 360-degree views. As we finished this with such a great buzz, we drove back to Northcliffe. And did you know there's an art trail in the forest? It's called the Understory Art and Nature Trail. On the self-guided tour, we discovered artwork scattered like treasure as you wander through the ancient forest. There's over 70 sculptures along the Understory Trail, and each one has been created in response to the unique landscape, people, and history of the southern forest region.
We're currently on the way from Northcliffe down to Denmark, and we said we'd stop into Walpole on the way because we've heard so much about it. We're staying in the Summer Star Tourist Park.
It's perfect. Got some art, got a sink, fridge, microwave, back door. This would be so good for bringing some crew down to Walpole. We would sleep 6 people. Ew. Denmark has a special place in my heart in WA, with Elephant Rock, Lions Lookout and the Surf Museum. We left Walpole today super early. We're on the way to Elephant Rocks. It was only an hour drive or so. We're trying to get sunrise, but as you can see, it's just super cloudy. After a couple of hours passed at Elephant Rocks, we decided we were going to find somewhere for a cook-up. This is when we headed to Lions Lookout.
Let's make some breakfast.
After a morning of adventure, this is exactly what we needed. Just to relax in the back of the van, cook up some food. I could honestly sit here for hours just watching the surfers and the colour of the water. And well, that's exactly what we did, watching the blue sky fade into a pink sky as the sun started setting. Unfortunately, it was a brief time over in Denmark as we were heading to Albany. Now, if you get bored easily when you're on drives, I've got the stop for you on the way to Albany. We stumbled across a very unique museum. And if you're in any way interested in surfing, you've got to check this place out. This exhibition takes you on a journey of the history of surfing from early Polynesia, over 80 restored vintage surfboards which document the change in design, form and colour over the decades. Wayne Winchester is the owner of this exhibition and was kind enough to give us an in-depth look at the gallery. He even took us out back to show his vast collection of surfboards that haven't even made it to the gallery yet. After chatting to Wayne and having a coffee, we headed on to Albany. We pulled up to the gap for sunset, as you can see here. Oh my goodness. It puts my heart in my mouth. And when you're walking, you all of a sudden hit rocks. Woo-hoo-hoo! Located in Torndarup National Park, this place was incredible. The gap viewing platform is suspended 40 meters above the natural channel. We found somewhere local to pull up and sleep in the van. This morning we're doing the Bald Head hike. Unfortunately the weather wasn't on our side and the sunrise was average, but the trail itself was far from. The Bald Head trail climbs and descends along the narrow ridgeline of the Flinders Peninsula. Chapter 13 brought us inland to Perth. We've just arrived in sunny Perth and we're doing the Granite Skywalk. We've only driven half an hour outside of Albany, so we're doing some hikes today. Super excited for this one. Rachel is putting the bug spray on. There's a lot. It is essential. There's a lot of horseflies around. The sun is setting over there, as you can see, and I reckon it's going to be a beautiful sunset, not a cloud in the sky. And when we're up above that tree level, we'll just get an orange glow all over the place. So I'm excited. We're ending the day with a hike up the Granite Skywalk. This is a suspended walkway on a huge granite outcrop of Castle Rock. Before you get to the walkway, however, you will come across a giant balancing rock. Test your strength and see if you can push them over. We were so close, we made a budge. Next isn't for the faint-hearted. You must tackle a ladder that extends 6 meters high.
Still have a couple of meters to go. You ready, Rach?
What?
Rach isn't a fan of heights. Apparently that point there is 65 meters high. Hi, Rach.
The views once you're up there of the surrounding Jarrah, Mary and Carry forests are so worth it. Once the sun set, we ran down because we had a sunrise plan the next day.
Have a look at this.
We were heading up Bluff Knoll. It's been on my bucket list for ages. It's the southwest's highest peak and we were determined to conquer it. We started early at 4 AM in order to be there for first light, and all of our efforts were not in vain. The views from the summit paired with the sunrise were out of this world.
Forecast changed and it's getting much colder, so we're going to start heading down. Well, what a view. It's just epic.
10 out of 10.
Today we were seeing orcas.
So we used yesterday as a recovery day because Bluff Knoll was so tiring. We did a big drive to Bremer Bay, which is 2.5 hours from Bluff Knoll. And we're doing the orca tour right now. When I think of Australia, I don't think of orcas, so come check it out.
We went on a safari with naturalist charters in Bremer Bay. We headed 52 nautical miles off the coastline to the Bremer Bay Canyon. Not long after we arrived at this spot, blows were spotted from the orcas. We followed a pod estimated to be up around 20 individuals. It was such an incredible experience. We were strapped for time, so we headed straight to Esperance, skipping Hopetown.
We've just arrived in Esperance and we're in a holiday homestay in Summerstar Parks. Come check it out with us.
This place is beautiful.
Ooh, nice. It's got an oven.
We've got an oven. This is a luxury compared to van life. I'm so excited to stay here and use this as my base. Look, you can sleep 3 of the crew in here, and then you get a double bed as well in this little stay. It's so perfect. This is the beach house I've always wanted. Once we arrived in Esperance, I had a drive that I wanted to do. This is called the Great Ocean Drive. It's a short loop of coastline just outside the town. It hits a lot of the iconic beaches and has some of the best viewpoints in Esperance. The best thing about this drive is you will always find somewhere that is protected from the wind. We spent the day chilling by the beach and recharging the batteries. By the time sunset came around, we knew we had to head to Twilight Beach. The colours bouncing off the rocks and ocean were so special. After an amazing sleep, our last big hike of the adventure was up Frenchman's Peak. Under the cover of darkness, we scrambled up the trail, reaching the summit pretty quickly.
I'm so excited for this.
There is a massive cavern at the top of the summit which frames the sunrise beautifully. This was formed millions of years ago by wave action when the whole area was underwater. We headed down to Lucky Bay Beach for a refreshing morning and a jump in the sea. After our sunrise hike, we had a well-earned feed at Lucky Bay Brewery. What better way to relax than stopping off at the iconic brewery? Their food menu is simply divine. There's something for everybody. We had to get a tasting panel of beers to try a few different types, and I love how some of the beers on tap are named after surf breaks in the area. That wraps up our Southwest Edge adventure. From this trip, I've realised just how much the southwest of Australia has to offer. The Southwest Edge website and route guides were invaluable when planning this trip. Definitely take a look and start planning your next adventure. I just want to say a huge thank you to the crew, Kirby and Jamie, and everyone else involved in this project. Thank you so much, and see you in the next one.